Demon Hunt in their lineup. And the Survival Druid. Yeah, it's exactly the same. And no, there's one deck different, right? I don't know, but similar enough. Whereas Bloodyface banned Face Hunter, whereas Killing All Day banned what, Malagos Druid. So
yeah,
like going up against the same lineup, they differed in ban strategies, which is interesting.
Yes. Just want to verify that because you brought that up. It's a really interesting observation, and I believe you are correct there. So Language Hacker and Saiyan having similar lineups. Killing All Day and Bloodyface having similar lineups, different bans.
Yeah,
and maybe Bloodyface has kind of learned even.
It's archetype for archetype, the same. Obviously some tech inclusions, but Saiyan has the exact same archetypes as Language Hacker. Bloodyface has the same archetypes as Killing All Day, and they differed in bans. So it is interesting.
All right, well, we'll see if that ends up being a difference in the actual result, because if let's say the ban doesn't change everything, then Bloodyface will have the one with the advantage compared to Killen, who did end up beating that Face Hunter, but the Face Hunter got that win anyways. So perhaps ends up being the key difference of this head-to-head, as well as, of course, any small lineup tech differences. Bloodyface, we actually haven't seen him many times playing Turtle Mage in the past either, so this is going to be our first foray to see how well he can navigate a tricky deck.
I have confidence. Breath of Dreams hitting a dragon. I guess that's worth a well played from Bloodyface.
Yeah, and look at Bloodyface kind of just favoring that early game tempo. Understands that he's only going to get a small window anyways. These battle cries aren't going to be really important. Saiyan finds the ramp, as well as the opportunity to just put out this Twilight Runner. I think Twilight Runner definitely can come out next turn and save all this front-loaded ramp for opportunities to, say, play Ysera even next turn. This is a really interesting opportunity for Saiyan. Yeah, Wand Thief.
And a good start as well.
I will crush your delusions of grandeur.
I feel like a Malagos Druid with a good start is very difficult for a Turtle Mage to handle. They do have to rely a lot on pressuring with just their early game minions, because they usually do not have time in the later stages of the game, unless they have text specifically for Malagos Druid, in order to stray away from the one-turn kill combo. So it is going to be difficult.
Another soul to consume.
Drew a new card there. I'm curious because Imprisoned Deserver is a pretty big body on the board.
Right.
Even though it's delayed.
Bloodyface is playing this as if he's Tempo Mage. Just kind of pushing things onto the board. Not a lot of control tools at all. Kind of early jam and damage. And it's up to Saiyan to show that he can stop this pressure.
Yeah, I feel like this is the higher win percentage strategy in the matchup, because, like I said, the combo is not super powerful in the matchup, because by the time you get done with piecing together everything you need, the Malagos Druid is just going to kill you from 30 anyway, and it doesn't matter how much healing or little chip damage you're dealing, because they have time to piece together the combo. So what you need to do is not give them time. Pressure them, force them to use their removal spells that would be burn spells on some of your minions in the early game. So that way they don't have those later in the game. It makes it a little bit harder. So I like the way Bloodyface is playing this. He even went for full mana efficiency early on in the game by playing the Earthring Farseer on 3 instead of something similar power that has the extra benefit like the Astromancer Solarian. So definitely clean. And that's a swipe use, which means that's less, burn that's going to be pointed at Bloodyface's face later on.
Yeah, very much so. And the window has been shut pretty tight. So Bloodyface, half of Saiyan's life total. and doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere close enough to the point where Bloodyface will be challenging Saiyan's life total just to tempo anymore. So Bloodyface thinking about this, Wand Maker chooses a different card and finds the potion.
Okay. You want something a little bit more powerful, but Wand Maker is like if you feel like you're lacking resources, Wand Maker is the card that can help you find the resources. You know, get Magic Trick that can open up a lot of possibilities, even for card draw. You can get Evocation, which is just the maximum value from Wand Maker. That's stowed away, and now he's got to be really careful. Because even though I said the combo is not like the ultimate goal of the deck in this matchup, it is necessary unless you kill them early. The primary goal of the early pressure is to force out the burn spells to make you play a little more awkwardly, so you unlock the combo for yourself later. But now if he draws double potion, that won't be possible. He's only got one Sphere of Sapience charge left. Oh wait, no, he put a never mind. I'm pretty sure he put a Potion of Illusion on the bottom of his deck on like turn 2 with the Sphere of Sapience, but he since then shuffled in Astromancer Slayer in his deck, which means it is no longer on the bottom.
Oh man.
Aggressive.
Alex Straza sets up lethal next turn, and Bloodyface has no answer. It's game over. Wow. Just like that, leaving up the Speaker Gidra ends up being a gamble that punishes Bloodyface pretty severely.
All that talk
from almost full
about
life.
The strategy in the matchup, it just doesn't matter.
You gotta like the call out. It's a completely correct call out. Like, Mage is not really known to really stop that. So that's game number 1. And Bloodyface Turtle Mage not able to get it over the hump. And Malagos Druid, maybe part of the reason why it's so powerful is because if decks try to stall it out, it does get time to go for really easy wins like that. Especially if you're a deck that lacks the immediate healing. Like, Turtle Mage has healing in it, but requires some pretty elaborate combos for it to get a consistent amount of healing.
Yeah. And that now it's a hard matchup, especially when Druid finds early ramp, because you just really don't have time. And do have to question the Wand Maker. I understand his reasoning. He wants to find something a little bit more valuable. But in that stage of the game, you just have to, kind of take the value that you can get and take the tools that you can get in order to deal with what's in front of you. But doesn't matter now. Game 1's in the books. Malagos Druid very likely to take a win in the series anyway. I think similar to Face Hunter. It's just, that's one game that he doesn't get now to maybe try to pull an upset with one of his matchups. Now he gets to turn to Priest, a little bit more comfortable playing the deck with Malagos Druid out of the way, since that's one of the worst matchups. But he still has Soul Demon Hunter and Temple Mage, which are both not easy matchups by any means.
Yeah, perhaps maybe a clarification of why, in the previous series we saw Kill All Day ban Malagos Druid. And so it ends up being something that maybe damned if you do, damned if you don't. But Saiyan's going to go to his Soul Demon Hunter, which looks to be a powerful deck. Many people are pegging Soul Demon Hunter to be the best deck in the metagame, and I think this is largely put by people who mainly focus on ladder and say they think it's really strong. And I'm starting to feel like while they might be exaggerating a little bit, because right now the best deck on ladder does not necessarily perform the best in tournaments. It does seem like Soul Demon Hunter is becoming more and more consistent as we've understood correct ways to play and finish out the deck list. It felt like while we were figuring out the last 5 cards of the deck, it was struggling a little bit to have that consistency, but a couple of things like Wand Makers, for example, make it really nice. That was a later tech as we started discovering different things. End up really tying so many of these pieces together to make it really nasty. And so I love seeing Soul Demon Hunter in action. It feels like the right approach to a mid-range strategy where it has a lot of different tools, but it also has its limitations because it has some of its best clears require a lot of mana and combo investment.
Yeah.
And you have to be really judicious with when you expend them. So I like Demon Hunter a lot right now. I think it's a great deck in the metagame.
And Penflinger's the next evolution of the deck. The double flinger. I've loved that deck.
You like Penflinger a lot, huh?
I do. I started playing the Libra Paladin Penflingers, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And then saw that a lot of players in Europe and a few in Asia Pacific submitted Soul Demon Hunter with Penflingers, and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense. Play with that, and loved that. And I don't know what's next, Dan. I think, Quest Shaman with Penflinger, the obvious next candidate. Priest with Penflinger. I mean, the list goes on. Mage, Temple Mage with Penflinger.
I mean, we had the broomsticks, the broom innovation, right?
Yep.
And then now we're seeing a little bit of different things like wand makers making to the way in deck lists. Maybe it's time for Penflinger, TJ, like you said.
So every deck in a couple weeks' time is going to include Wand Maker, Cobalt Spellkin, Broomstick, and Penflinger. It's the play, Dan. It's just the play. Every deck.
Yes, every deck. Turtle Mage, Penflinger. There's like 3 spells in the deck, but I mean, TJ said so.
I said so. You have Wand Makers in the deck. What more do you need?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, can't argue with that logic. TJ has won this argument. Let's go into the game here. Saiyan has the Adraki Warblades ready to go. Finally, a card that's playable. Everything else is just kind of sit and wait.
Yep. We saw this matchup in the last series. For the Priest, it's about finding board presence, right? It's about finding something and some minion and protecting it so that it sticks on board, consistently playing for tempo and playing for board so that the Demon Hunter has to respect and sink damage into those minions. If you don't do that, you let the Demon Hunter do whatever they want, they're just going to keep hitting you. Lots of damage, and eventually you'll just fall. What happened to Killing All Day in the last series, albeit he did have some, all of his randomly generated nonsense was exactly that, randomly generated nonsense. Nothing that could help him. But you can't rely on that stuff. You have to try and be consistent. We'll see if Bloodyface managed to do that. Starts off with some good stuff. Finds the Cobalt Spellkin as well as Evasive Draconid. Cabal Acolyte as well. Even right now, going into this next turn, he could steal this Mana Feeder Panthera, which forces Saiyan to deal with both those minions.
Yeah, I like this hold. There's no point in actually pushing for it. This Cabal Acolyte can do quite a number right now, and we saw what it looks like when Priest starts to dramatically seize tempo away from the Demon Hunter. By the way, this is like a small thing, as the Bloodyface does pick up this Murzon, which is also pretty nasty.
Nice.
It doesn't seem like to me that every week Bloodyface is playing from a different location.
Yeah, it does.
With like a different setup. Like today, he's got his DJ headphones on.
Those kind of look like my travel headphones.
Right. He's in an airport waiting room.
yeah.
That's right. Also, Bloodyface looks like got a haircut, or at least from what I recognized.
Nah, it's just all tucked back, Dan.
It's all tucked back in.
Yeah.
It almost looks like Bloodyface has someone trying really hard to look like Bloodyface.
Yes, I'm Bloodyface.
Yes,
look at my series
right now would not win.
Right now.
Bloodyface right now would not win a Bloodyface lookalike contest.
Your feeble magic amuses me.
It's part of the Halloween heist, if you ask me. Bloodyface, it's all a ruse. Just trying to throw off the scent. To steal the ultimate trophy and prize. But a little bit less on that, and a little bit more on Saiyan picking up Lapidary and a free Blade Dance. That's a good way to seize back that tempo. Nothing fraudulent about that.
Yep.
A simple spell.
It's a lot of pressure, honestly, from bloodyface, and you know he's going to force these resources out of Saiyan, which honestly, lapidary plus blade dance is not really that much resource. It's pretty easy for him to just say, all right, well, this is just a free card and I still get to push all this damage. All of this time you spent building up this incredibly large board will be for naught because it's all going to go bye-bye.
You don't pick the ones.
Yes. Big combo damage, big tempo swings. I think that's partially why this Demon Hunter deck feels good, because it just does a lot of things that shakes the board. It sweeps everything up in a dramatic fashion. You slam your opponent for like 7 or 8 damage, and it just feels like it hurts. You know, it's kind of like the satisfaction back in the day of like playing Mountain Giant and hitting face. And it feels like right now in Hearthstone there's a lot of like things that it either like did a lot of small repetitive damage, or be spell damage that would end up right for these big combo stuff. It just feels good to shake the board every now and then when you're like really getting them free. That's why I like the Demon Hunter. Bloodyface.
I miss playing Mana Giants for 3, Dan. I really miss it. Or
Yeah.
Mountain Giants. Did I say Mana Giants?
You did say Mana Giants, and I was like, well, you know, TJ, you can play it for 3 mana, but I think it's better if you play it for 0.
I miss playing Mountain Giants for 3. I miss even Warlock.
Right. Even Warlock was a deck that wasn't truly appreciated in its time. I think people really missed that after having played a bunch of other mid-range decks, especially for Warlock when we lack other Warlock strategies that are mid-range style. It feels like we've had the Control Galakron style or the Kazoo Warlock. I do miss a little bit of that mid-range.
Holy
Okay.
moly.
Finds Radiance.
Not only did he heal back up to essentially full life, but he also still has a ton of healing left in his hand with Radiance and Renew. So this is looking pretty good from Bloodyface. Saiyan, his goal is going to be to try and kill him over like the course of a short amount of time to limit the amount of possible healing and tempo that Bloodyface can gain. So he does have Marl Slicer. Let's look at Bloodyface's priest. Yeah, he is running Cobalt Sticky Fingers, running pretty much the standard variation of the Dragon Control Priest that we've seen. So doesn't want to leave his weapons too vulnerable, but at the same time he needs to, you know, consistently push damage.
Yeah, and it looks like we're just going to have to get there through minions as well. It doesn't seem like the only weapons and hero power strategy can get there, unfortunately. Illidan sometimes needs help, you know? Can't just do it all by himself.
Yep.
You don't pick the ones.
So kind of looking over at Bloodyface's hand here and thinking about like what can best set himself up for success, especially if he has to just play this this wave of apathy.
You don't pick the ones.
To stall.
This feels so much like the Killing All Day game where he's just getting all these random 1-mana spells. And they're all inner fires. Wave of Apathy good though. I wonder if he's gonna unleash a Renew here.
It's inefficient for healing.
Overall though, pretty like weak turn, all things considered. He dealt damage to himself and developed 2 tutus. While he did take some damage off board, it didn't take damage off permanently.
Right.
Oh,
I might have liked the Renew.
It's for Huff.
Nope.
What's
Refa.
his name?
It's Huffer backwards, DJ.
Refa? Are they? They're not all backwards though.
They're not all backwards, but this
That's
one is.
confusing.
Consistency, DJ. The way you can think about it is that they're all anagrams, but this one just happened to be the backwards version of Upwards Refa. And, you know, I kind of wonder if bloodyface maybe was trying to save his Renew for something, like maybe a Pyromancer turn. I was also thinking, like, if you're not going to save a Pyromancer, would you just want to play that so you can get the efficient mana expenditure? Because I feel like he has so many cards that it's going to be hard to dump it all in time. And Saiyans just going to, like, pressure over time and just get that damage in.
So,
okay.
justsaiyan now has missed a little. He hasn't been super efficient with his damage. He decided not to attack early on in the game when he had all jockey warblades equipped, and now this turn, like missing hero power or twin slice. But he's taking control of the board. He's presenting these threats each and every turn.
Think this is your time?
And that is very important. Like, he could have, like, twin sliced and hero powered and gotten all damage to face, and then he would have had to trade the cane. I don't know, maybe that's better.
Right.
Actually, wait, yeah, that's better.
Yeah. I mean,
it keeps health on the cane. Maybe
Right.
that's worth something, but it's hard to find, like, you know, how much that's actually worth. Keeping damage on the cane. But this is a lot of damage. So the cane on board, he has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 19. Can he fit in a Marl Slicer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, not quite. Is he one off? 2 off? 5? 14?
I mean, he's blade dancing either way, so I think we're just going to invest into this board state. I also would be slightly averse to playing too many minions onto the board, just to not allow Wild Pyromancer and Apotheosis to come out here and swing the health state too much.
He's seen 1 Apotheosis and 1 Wild Pyromancer. But yeah, I do get what you mean. Like, that can be sometimes scary. Especially since there's not really a need to shuffle more Soul Fragments into the deck at this point.
Right.
But I mean,
what's a Spirit Jailer doing?
Yeah, it's very likely that he has lethal regardless next turn.
True.
And I'm surprised he didn't cash in on 1 of the twin slices. Just efficient, efficient damage, right?
Or both, right? Because the idea is a Mirror Slicer Hero Power Gladebound is also maximum damage push.
Yeah, or both, right? He floated 2 mana. I doubt it'll matter because bloodyface needs some pretty insane outcomes here. I think he...
Renew, probably to help look for something like Holy Nova or... he's got to find something. This...
I thought I would renew
Sending
first
Veil
see
Weaver.
if Apotheosis.
Okay, maybe the Renew. Oh, jeez, he's using the Pyromancer.
Apotheosis!
Oh, he finds the Apotheosis. Is it enough, though? It's like too late, right? Gains 5 life.
5 life, and he can gain 2 more from swinging. I feel like he's supposed to Radiance or Renew first there to find Apotheosis.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Because now
he leaves the cane on board too. Yeah, he's dead.
You know what's not alive? Oh, he finds space. Oh no, it deals damage to himself.
Wait, no, that's more efficient healing, right? Because it deals 3 damage to himself, but then heals for 2, and then gets to attack for 2. So he go to 11 instead of 10. Raise Dead is just more efficient healing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a missed health.
Saiyan has lethal.
He does,
Mirror
exactly.
Slicer, Twin Slice, Glaive
So
Bound Death.
that's crazy. If he had gone Raise Dead, he would be alive. And the reason why he would be alive is because Saiyan didn't efficiently push damage over the past 2 turns.
Really interesting stuff.
And bloodyface could have probably stabilized because he could have Kobold Spellfingered the Kobold Spellflinger. What the heck? Pinflinger's on my mind. Kobold Sticky Finger and then Radiance.
short.
What is happening?
Our enemies will fall.
What? TJ, what was that?
Is that Twin Slice not there?
Is it
Does it not
bugged?
exist? Is that not a card? Like, is it a bug?
I don't think so. If let's say there is a spectator bug and it's not in a hand, that would explain a lot why he didn't play it 2 turns ago.
It
But I
has to
am
be, right?
shocked.
Waste it now.
I am shocked. Saiyan is a caliber of a player that I would not expect this from. And this looks like either exactly as you described it, where it's like a visual error, and we have seen a couple of those, or this is a catastrophically bad missed lethal here from Just Saying, which looks like he may be missing his window. Still not out, though. Maybe Saiyan's just been trading a little bit too much on the stock market, and as a result, he's trading in Hearthstone.
Alas, poor warlock. Alas, poor
2 damage, 4
warlock.
damage from Slice.
lethal.
Okay.
Alas,
Okay.
poor
Does he have enough mana
warlock.
for all this, though?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Oh yeah, he does.
TJ.
Oh my gosh.
Not you too! It's
That was-
spreading! The only
feel
thing
like
more
that-
contagious than the pandemic is the missed lethals here in the Americas.
I feel like this was like.
By the way, he did play the Twin Slice, so it's not a bug. Oh my god. I don't understand what's happening anymore.
And the break. I don't expect this from these two players. Like, so I'm correct in the raise that if he had played that, it would have healed him for 2. He could attack face and go up to 11 instead of 10. That break point ended up mattering for the next turn, which Saiyan missed the lethal, and then so it didn't matter. But then it would have mattered the following turn because Saiyan found exact lethal. And he could have had a potential for stabilization even beyond that because he would have been at 1 at the end of that turn. Now, granted, it's very unlikely that he finds something, but like he even raised Ed might have been able to find him something, right? He had a bunch of wand makers die in that game. He could have found another Radiance, which could have kept him alive for another turn. Like, that game was sloppy. I feel like that game was sloppy, and I always hate pointing those things out. Against a player like bloodyface, who's won, back-to-back America's titles and second place at World Championship, and Saiyan, whose resume is insane as well over the past 4 years or however long it's been. But that was sloppy.
It was not great, but we still got the win for Saiyan, and it's okay. A win is a win, TJ. It doesn't matter if you miss lethal for a turn, as long as you saw it the following turn. And, that's going to do it for the previous game. Saiyan just has to win 1 more, and the sweep will be complete as we go to Mage versus the Priest. Quite an interesting day of games, to say the least. I guess you never really know what to expect. And also, players make mistakes, right? Like, we're talking about a situation where both players were like looking a little sloppy, but errors do happen, right? Even the best do it, and I think that's totally fine. Saiyan starts things off with a lot of early cheap cards and that Mana Cyclone, so things are definitely looking nice for him to start things off. So he has actions in place to really accrue those resources. I do find that Mana Cyclone in this matchup is something that I can greed a lot more than other ones because of the way priests give you that time to set up, but you don't want to give them too much time. So it's actually kind of a nice, delicate balancing act, where if you take a little bit too long, priests will actually out-tempo you, but you can still take it a little bit slower. So I like this little fine song and dance that Mage has to do in this matchup.
Yeah. It's this matchup can get really interesting because it can come down to a resource battle later on, and I do feel like Mage has a couple of ways they can play it, which can get really awkward in later stages of the game. It all depends on how their early kind of randomly generated things go. If they get a ton of value, then they can play a value game, which I feel is a bit tougher. If they get a ton of damage, they can start going for just like efficient damage usage, which that gets really fun because you never know what to play around as priests. So it's like we're in on this little secret that the mage is trying to push as much damage as possible, and nobody else is in on it.
Yeah, height. I don't know, but either way, we're here in Game 3, and bloodyface still needs to win, right? Like, if we talk about the big macro perspective, bloodyface is down 1-2 in the overall standing. 1-3 record puts him in a tough spot. Let's say he goes even again for Week 7. Then he's all of a sudden a prime candidate for relegation. But it is nice to know that bloodyface is one of the top earners for Americas from the Masters Tour, and therefore is actually likely to get promoted right back into GM. So,
yeah.
His consistency would pay off, and I think that's okay, and maybe even shows that, that consistency can be proven, because one of the things that people do say, rightfully so, about GM is if you fall out, it feels like impossible to requalify. Bloodyface would be the first person to do that, which would be only just like the most appropriate thing for Americas, right? Most dominant player we've seen in the past 2 years for this region, also requalify immediately and be the first to do it.
Yeah, it's honestly funny because there's a few players that, if they're relegated, would very likely requalify, pending on the results of the Masters Tour Online for Madrid, which will be the last one of the calendar year and also of the Grandmaster cycle. But that's a conversation for a later date, because right now we're about to get a pretty juicy mana cycle in here coming out from Saiyan. And okay, finds elemental allies with Violet Spellwing in hand. That's quite good. Potion of Illusion also has a ton of potential for a lot of value. It doesn't seem like his board is going to live. I can imagine that bloodyface is eyeing Wild Pyromancer, Apotheosis, and Raise Dead, which would clear off the Sorcerer Apprentice mana cycle and also heal for 8 and take 3, so it would heal for 5 total. But I think that's the play. It takes off 2 threatening minions. It puts a Wild Pyromancer in play with Apotheosis, which is a must-remove target, and only leaves a 1/1 lab partner in play. It does give up a targeted spell for the Sethic Veilweaver, but he does have Shadow Arcane, and he will find additional resources from this Raise Dead as well, including, but not limited to, a Desk Imp.
There you go. Tempo. I mean, sometimes you gotta do it. I think that's fine, given that Saiyan right now is still just like powering up, and it doesn't seem like either player is really able to get the major upper hand up until this Mana Giant turn. If Saiyan finds a way to reliably get it down, I don't think we can squeeze it out cheaper here this turn. Nor do I think it's, well, there's a couple of ways you can look at this. If you play the Mana Giant and trade, say, into the Desk Imp, there is a possibility that the Priest is able to actually just take out the Mana Giant with the Wild Pyromancer. Just has to find a couple of cheap spells, and those cheap spells are likely to generate other cheap spells sometimes. And Saiyan would lose that Mana Giant. The alternative is to just prepare for a 0-mana Mana Giant, play something like the Netherwing Portal, then next turn go for a pretty dramatic Temporal Swing. Try to go from there.
Yeah. I think either play is fine. Not leaving the Mana Giant vulnerable, giving yourself another opportunity to pick up Conjurer's Calling, I think is worthwhile. Oh. So his hand lacks a tiny bit of value, so Thought Steal could be good. He's seen a Sorcerer Apprentice Mana Cycle and Breath of the Infinite. Not great. What's with the Evil can be a lot of potential. Oh, one thing to note, he did hold on to Mana Giant the turn before Soul Mirror has potential come out. But I don't think that matters too much because it's just more likely that he would have like a direct removal for it before the possibility of Soul Mirror. And it is a one of, so don't think it matters too much, but you know, something to think about. And does pick Thought Steal.
Yeah, I think that maybe he feels a little bit light on his actual substance of his cards. He's got like a Cobalt Sticky Finger, and he's got like a Draconic Study. Don't necessarily lead to anything guaranteed to be good in this matchup. And a lot of times it's not. Sand finds the Ray of Frost off the top. No actual way to guarantee deal with this wild Pyromancer.
Which could prove to be a bit problematic. That does have an Apotheosis on it. It's not that big of a deal because right now, like, direct damage is not something he seems like he's eyeing. He does have Elemental Allies as well, which is another reason why holding on to Mana Giant is beneficial. He could save the Mana Giant, play it next turn, and get the activation on Elemental Allies to draw the 3 spells from his deck. But didn't leave himself with much time. That is a pretty tough turn because there's a lot of things you're considering. You could see he thought about playing Mana Giant, but then realized that Elemental Allies was in play and was like, I think I want to take the 3 spells from my deck instead. Hold on to it one more turn.
Oh,
Bloodyface is probably happy here.
Well, yeah, I'd say. I mean, got an Evocation.
And a Mana Cyclone. Build your own mage deck.
Sure.
Scratch our conversation from earlier. This should be the Tavern Brawl.
Just Evocation and Mana Cyclones and never being able to get
a
full
deck
value
full
off
of
either.
Evocation and Mana Cyclone. Hearthstone team, you're welcome.
It just sounds silly to me because the Evocation and the Mana Cyclone often don't let each other really get full value, so it's just like frustration, the Tavern Brawl.
I feel like that's already been a Tavern Brawl like 6 times, though.
Spiders everywhere. No! Come on!
What to do?
Joe Mag roll.
I will crush your delusions.
Just saying, goes for the card draw here with the Astromancer Solarian. I guess he's really just looking for Soul Apprentice right here.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna potion. Okay. Does he even have room in his hand right now for that?
Yes, exact space, but he will overdraw. Oh, no, he can play the Mana Giant because it's a 1/1, but it still keeps the discount, so he can play it, but, you know.
But he loses the Conjurer's Calling. Just burn a card. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be Sorcerer's Apprentice, right?
Or his Astromancer Solarian gets killed
is.
off and then it's Solarian Prime. Nah, it's not going to be either of those. It's going to be something useless.
Right.
What?
Oh boy. All right. I mean, even though this isn't the most fantastic Soul Mirror board, you do get a Solarian Prime in your deck. And you also get to hold on to these minions on board, though if you wanted the 1/1 in play, he would have played it afterwards, because it'll get swept up by the Wild Pyromancer, but it looks like Soul Mirror is not on his mind. Instead, he's just going to use the Inner Fire to Mountain Giant along with the Wild Pyromancer. This makes sense. As much as I'd like Solarian Prime in my deck as a priest, because it gives you kind of that out and a way to finish the game, which can sometimes be a difficult task for priests. Saving those big resources, especially knowing that there's a 0-mana Mountain Giant in hand that can be Conjurer's Calling, it makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
Yeah, it was Magic Trick. We're all good.
Yeah. 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 And Now Saiyan can go for the big swings that he was looking for. Mana Giant and Conjurer's Calling probably start things off in case he finds a really powerful rush minion to capitalize on this. And there it is, Spatterhead.
There it is. That is a reasonably powerful rush minion.
I mean, it doesn't really get too much better than that for clearing the board right now. And then he could Conjurer's Calling again. Something I think about is Soul Mirror. If he's making things too good for Soul Mirror, definitely worth considering.
Yeah, he can Soul Mirror the Witch. I don't know. I guess he's just going to play it a little bit slower. Play a Vaporize. That can also just be a little bit awkward for Priest Steel because they have to make a few checks to see which secret it is. Vaporize Priest likely won't do much in the ways of trying to test for that one for a while, but once you narrow it down to phase secrets, it becomes a little bit easier. So it looks like this is a wasted Radiance, which means probably a Mana Cyclone.
Love it.
Except he keeps generating more things, so
Ooh.
Mana Cyclone is getting a little bit less efficient, but still fine.
Gift of Luminance, though. Septic Veil Weaver. He just wants more Thought Steals. Okay. Maybe time to Mana Cyclone if you want to, then. And then dump the Holy Smite. Just because you don't want to have too many cards in the hand. You have Evocation. You have Raised Dead. You have Thought Steal. How much more value do you really need, DJ?
Yeah, it's awkward because either way he ends this turn with a full hand. Unless he ends the turn with Evocation. Because if he plays Holy Smite, he adds another spell with the Sethic Veil Weaver. Yeah, he has to end the turn with Evocation in order to make space.
Wow.
Oh, jeez, this game's getting really weird.
What a bummer. Now, TJ. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
A Walking Fountain. And Zeraku, he could ping his own face. 2 mana, summon a 6/6, and you didn't even have to play Draxus, heir to Lord of the Burning Region.
But Bloodyface can follow that up with Soul Mirror and then Raise Dead. and summon 6/6 for himself and also get the Walking Fountain, which can attack twice, killing the Zeraku. And healing back the damage he took from Raise Dead.
Yeah, it's definitely really weird. But I think you're right. Ooh, Soul Mirror with the Wave of Apathy is also nice too.
Yeah, problem is that you... not... Yeah.
You Soul... Yeah. I think you're right. Like, you Soul Mirror, and then you Wave of Apathy afterwards.
What is
Yeah.
a loon's will?
To get
But
more
I
efficient
don't-
trades.
I don't know if you get to actually kill the Zeraku.
No, you
Doesn't
you
the Soul
do.
Mirror eat the first attack of the Walking?
Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, yeah. Sorry, I thought you got like a free one. Can he kill it then?
He can... Well, Soul Mirror is definitely the best card to play on a board like this. But the question is, what's the follow? Is he going to Frost Nova? That Thought Steal. Okay.
Whoa!
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
It's Holy Smite, yeah.
How
Then
did Raise Dead and take the 6/6?
Yeah, but you have a full hand at that point. He's very intent on not burning cards right now.
Yeah, I guess, but I just thought that he would do that at the beginning of the turn because the 6/6 seems better than anything he could have done outside of that.
Right.
I don't know. I guess maybe he didn't know what to spend the rest of his mana on, but You could have like just dumped my raise dead and then even heal up something. I don't know.
Saiyan starts things off with just a little bit of a discover and see what he can pick up. Maybe that brain freeze ends up being really solid to help him clear off this board. I'm trying to think if this is a good opportunity to maybe drop Chenvala to like, because now that Solmir has been used, it feels like it's better to extend onto the board that way.
Yeah.
And you can like, you can definitely summon it this turn while still like clearing off the board.
Okay.
Alright, bloodyface just goes for the clear here. Netherwind Portal is just the only playable thing. And now we're kind of set into a motion where like Saiyan has to figure out this secret, which he's not really sure about, but he's going to test for counter spell. Portal finds his own Solarian Prime, has the power of creation ready to go. Lots to think about this turn.
Yeah. So he does have another Asherman Solarian in hand, which is a 1/1. I think he's keen on kind of pinging that off the turn he plays it. Just because he doesn't want it to get stolen by like Cabal Acolyte.
Oh my gosh, he found Onyx Mage Scribes! Those are hard to deal with, and he's going to get more mage spells. He doesn't know spells to capitalize on. They're just
Yeah, not this turn at least.
Dragons right now.
Alright, Solarian Prime. I wonder if you Shadow or Death first? I guess not. Because if it doesn't kill like all the minions, then you'd rather just like cross over. Whoa! Evasive Worm!
Okay. Okay.
Evolving Missiles? It's all 3 pugs!
Puzzle
okay.
Pugs.
Dan, I said it at the beginning of the day. I said it's going to be one of those days. I said it.
Oh my gosh. And he hits his own minions.
Shrine. Hits his face.
Stop hitting yourself.
Lava Burst. It's
Stop
the
hitting
evil miscreant.
yourself.
Hey, there's a bite. Oh no! You can still Shadow or Death that.
Okay.
Blind Vision's an
Nation.
evocation?
Okay. It was... all things considering, it wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah, so he can Shadow or Death this 13-5 and then just trade over the other two. That seems like the best course of action here. He also got 3 secrets. Freezing Trap. And I don't know, and I don't know.
I will crush your
Yeah,
delusions of
it's
pride.
Freezing Trap and Vaporize, and I think Netherwind
Portal.
Yeah.
Netherwind Portal he played the last round.
Either
All
way,
right, well,
just
how about another one?
Once more, Solarian Prime.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Counterspell, good.
Not bad.
Ancient Mystery's not good. Polymorph, it's going to hit the Solarian Prime, good. And Potion!
Woo!
What?
The expressions say it all.
What even is Hearthstone? Dan?
I mean, right now, saying it's pretty much about trying to find any kind of gravity within the chaos here. What can really pull us back down here on Earth? And it's fun to get caught up in the value, right? Like, if we were to kind of level with it here, playing this kind of mage style is pretty fun for whoever's piloting it. You get a lot of random stuff. It's pretty chaotic. Sometimes you feel a little bit gross because you're like, oh, I robbed this game out of my opponent. But you also have to, if you want to like play this deck at the highest level here in Hearthstone, you also have to be able to slowly decipher situations where you avoid it. Like in this case, if I'm, streaming or if I'm like creating YouTube videos or, if I'm Brian Kibler on a Thursday, I play that second Solarian Prime every single time because it's sweet. But Saiyan very wisely realizes he might need to hold on to this for later because the battle has just begun, TJ.
Yes, it has.
We've just exited the early game.
I'm actually surprised he didn't like ping his own Ashman Solarian just so it wouldn't get stolen, so he can get another one in the deck. But I think you're right there. He's more thinking of like, okay, well, long-term game plan. Maybe I don't need another Solarian Prime because I have one, or at least I don't need to ping it this turn. Maybe I need that spell damage next turn. Maybe I need this on the board to try and contest something. So it doesn't ping it off because he's not fully focused on it. But at a certain point in this game, I think it will come down to like whether or not Saiyan Solarian Primes can generate enough damage to win, because he's behind on like kind of behind on resources. He's definitely behind.
What are you talking about? TJ, he's got 3 more Solarian Primes at least. That's like
this is true.
15 puzzle boxes.
That is. That's quite a lot of puzzle boxes. There's another one. And here's another one.
Here we go.
Another potion of illusion, perhaps?
Wait.
Another portal? What?
There's no space left on the board. His minions aren't green, TJ. He's drawing too many cards.
My hand is too full.
Oh, yikes. Talk about getting ahead in the fatigue race.
Yeah.
Okay, ping your own Astromancer. Just to make sure your opponent can't do anything about that. Nah, this is starting to get so weird too because of the amount of secrets that are on both sides as well.
Yeah. Also. Yeah.
Oh, Saiyan's making hand space. I was like, why? I thought you only needed 1 Ray of Frost there. If you Cone of Cold first and then Ray of Frost.
No, looks like he did want hand space, but that hand space is gonna, yes, it's making space for like Sorcerer Apprentice Mana Cyclone, but at the same time, it's also getting rid of spells that would feed into Sorcerer Apprentice Mana Cyclone. So a little bit weird situation, but overall, not a big deal because he does have an evocation to kind of fall back on. But this is starting to get a little weird. Bloodyface this board is reasonably threatening, but not so much so that he has to like be desperate here. Cabal Shadow Priest, I feel like he has time to play that and take the Astromancer Solarian, and maybe that's where your ping comes in there on the Astromancer Solarian last turn, because it feels like with drawing that many cards, his clock has shortened a lot,
yeah.
a lot, because he's going to start taking fatigue damage. And so maybe relying on the Solarian Prime is actually the key here, actually the play here, where it may not have been previous turns because he wasn't so far behind on fatigue that his clock was that short. I don't know. It's just pretty crazy. Out of cards.
I'm inclined to agree, TJ. Someone did the math on it. I would say that like somewhere between 20 to 30% of the time, Solarian Prime tends to draw you at least 1 card.
Yeah.
He gets the Amalgam back. Or the Hench Clan Amalgam. So he can... No, there's no synergy there. No synergies there, TJ.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm digging in my brain for some semblance of synergy with this hand, but it's not there.
Yeah, I think it's just... There's really no synergy with it. I'm like, I don't know. Frost Whisper hits the board. He has 3 spell damage right now, so I think it clears almost everything. Or rather, 3 damage AoE, excuse me, because he has 2 spell damage. All right, well... Bloodyface has only 1 secret left to defuse. He's tested for a bunch.
Vaporize?
I believe so. Bloodyface has the Vaporize as well.
Yeah. So that would be the only thing he hasn't tested for. I mean, could be Ice Barrier, but I'm pretty sure... I don't even remember where he got that Vaporize to begin with, to be honest.
I wonder.
My deck tracker's not that advanced.
Alright. Evocation again. Oh, Rolling Fireball is interesting here. Bloodyface has to go a little bit quicker. Puzzle Box unplayable.
Yeah, that was not a particularly powerful turn. And maybe that's an
okay, he just
opening
wants to take
for...
it slow.
Yeah, I guess, but at this point, Saiyan's on a clock, so you can kind of go a little faster. Because you know that Saiyan has to go fast, so you can match that speed and, you know, be on top of resource at the end of the day. Obviously, depending on what you know your opponent has left, and I guess like Sorcerer Apprentice Shenbala Evocation is dangerous enough to kind of scare him from going a little bit quicker.
Right.
And I mean, you said like Astromancer or Solarian Prime likely to draw cards at certain points. Alright, so it was a Flame Ward was the last one. And at some point, are you afraid to play Solarian Prime until you absolutely have to try and win the game if you're gonna like die the next turn?
Right.
That's tough.
You don't pick the ones.
Doesn't find anything of value off the Jandis. Finds a Brain Freeze. Seems like he's just gonna try to slowly finish this off with whatever he has left. Bloodyface doesn't exactly have many good tools here either.
You can find something with the Steward of Scrolls,
A charming composition.
but and he does have like Wave of Apathy to take some power off the board and stall. Soul Mirror.
Soul Mirror is not playable this turn though. That's the only issue.
No, but,
is it Wave of Apathy here?
Yeah, he can Wave of Apathy to block some damage and then go for a Soul Mirror to kind of clean up whatever's on the board next turn. But I do feel like this is an opening for Saiyan to stick some meaningful damage.
Right. TJ's at time.
Solarian Prime Time.
Oh, it's prime
Yes,
time,
it is.
baby. It's
So 5
prime
damage
time.
on board. No additional spell damage. Netherwind Portal. Fireball.
Oh.
Counterspell.
Counterspell?
Counterspell is really good. Uh-oh.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Ouch. So he drew 2 cards, which means he's deep into fatigue and dies in 3 turns guaranteed.
Yeah.
The counterspell is really not high impact because of this Mind Vision, and the Soul Mirror should clean everything up here.
Yep. Everything but the Malagos, and you know that could be the illusion. Depending on what Sam was prioritizing, health or damage on board, what he chose.
Interesting.
But it'll clean an an extra mana crystal.
Yeah, I like the embalming ritual because I want to be able to stick a minion for the apotheosis.
Yeah, you know, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I mean, so Saiyan will have like 1 turn now where he has to go pretty much all in with Sorcerer's Apprentice, Evocation, Shenbala, stick 1 last board, and hope that that gets the job done. But I'm not sure if it will. Bloodyface needs to find like 1 more turn of stall. That's bold. Wave of Apathy, there it is. That's pretty much exactly what you're looking for in that situation, because that gives you one more turn of stall. Knowing what's left from Just Saying, knowing that Shinvala is kind of his last-ditch effort. If you could dodge burn damage, which dodging burn damage was honestly why I'd prefer to renew face there. If Mana Cyclone gives him enough burn damage to like potentially end the game, that's what I'd be worried about. So there's 2 Arcane Breaths, but no Dragons. There's Devolving Missiles, Potion of Illusion. Won't have hand space for that if he wants to play Mana Cyclone here, which... Wait a second. Oh, he can use this for Arcane Breath, because he'll get back Malagos.
Right.
And then the Arcane Breath will be active, and then he can tailor that strategy. Instead of going for Mana Cyclone, which is random spells, he can go for spells that he chooses. Uh-oh.
But he needs life, TJ. He's almost out of time.
I mean, if he finds like the damage to win right now, and can
Puzzle
stick something,
Box!
okay, Puzzle Box. Puzzle Box draws cards probably even at a higher percentage than Slayer Prime. I don't know, probably not, but who knows? It's Puzzle Box, right?
He's got the Puzzle Box.
Another evocation.
Not to mention that bloodyface might just die. Okay. Murazan.
What does that even do?
Brain Freeze, Arcane Breaths, Wave of Apathy afterwards. There's a lot of minion presence on the board. He wants to just kill any of it. No! No!
Also cast evocations. What are those? Is that a
Okay.
flame ward? That's 2 flame wards?
No! Oh, okay, looks like it hit his own, Shenvala, stop targeting your own minions! Okay. Silence is... helpful. Hold up, Wave of Apathy here for 0.
Don't you want a flame ward too?
You do. You want the Flame Ward.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, right. TJ.
Last turn. So he's got 6 damage on board, but he doesn't know what the secret is. Evocation is very unlikely to find lethal. If it's counterspell, then you don't want to put... I don't know. Okay, so gets Flame Ward. So now he has to...
only one play. There is only one play.
Whatever.
It is time! Open the
attack.
box.
You don't attack because you want Bloodlust.
Oh yeah. Freeze the fate. Oh yeah. Okay, that's damage. That's damage.
So he's got 4, 8. He's got 8, 9 with the... Wait, he can ping? That means he's dead. Animal Companion!
Animal Companion!
Ooh, Lightning Bloom!
He has lethal! Oh my
Exactly
gosh!
Exactly lethal!
Someone called 911. That was just a straight up robbery. I don't understand what just happened. Saiyan wins 3-0 and sweeps Bloodyface and improves to a 2-2 record here in Week 6 of Hearthstone Grandmasters. Unbelievable finish deep into fatigue. He was going to take 7 fatigue damage next turn. Was that right? Absolute madness. Jeez. Well, that was our 4th series, and Saiyan takes the win. TJ is speechless.
I don't want to remember that series.
It's the perfect way. It's the perfect bow on top of that gift of a Hearthstone best of 5, TJ.
I need like a palate cleanser or something. I hope that this